money properly. 10 young bosses had a plan to get land. 4 G's an acre, so we came up with a plan. $10 a month, 4 months by 10 members. Start by September, we can purchase by December. 10 young bosses wanted funds to get equipment. About 10K when you factor in the shipment. $100 a month for 10 months for 10 members. Start up in March, we can purchase by December. 10 young bosses going in on some real estate. About 1,000 now we talking about big estate. 100 a week, 10 months, 10 members. Starting February, we have property by December. 5 young bosses wanna buy the whole block. The other 5 wanna go in on some stock. Business credit they want, moving with your crew. Now they can get finance for anything they do. 10 young bosses going in on the plan. Came up with a business, put some money in their hand. Products, services, intellectual property. Rocking with the co-op, stacking money properly. 10 young bosses going in on the plan. Come up with a business, put some money in their hand. Products, services, intellectual property. Rocking with the co-op, stacking money properly. Co-op.
Grand Rise and B1 Aggers. Welcome back into another show. Here at B1 Ag, we addressed Black agriculture from the stance of economics, education, marketing, production, all B1 first, about agriculture as it relates to our community and how we need to embrace agriculture as a way to achieve socioeconomic freedom. Today, we're going to have a special guest later on, and that's Dr. Antamia Pharrell, who is the current sitting president of Manners at the University of Kentucky. Manners is a great professional development, agricultural professional development organization that steers our brightest collegiate and high school minds into fields in agriculture. Where we need to be, and also helps them find where these resources are to help them along their way. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about today, before we bring Antamia Pharrell, Dr. Antamia Pharrell on, is this concept of food forests. Now, a food forest, they're currently being planned all over the country to address, really all over the world, to address food insecurity and food deserts, especially in urban environments. So what they do, what a food forest is that, communities come together and grow and share their own food for free on public land. And the main food forest we're going to talk about today is the one in Atlanta. In Atlanta, they actually built the nation's largest free food forest to address hunger. And that's a great thing, because where they built the food forest is in the Browns Mill neighborhood in southeast Atlanta. Now, in that section of Atlanta, in the Browns Mill neighborhood, 1 in 3 Browns Mill residents live below the poverty line. And if they do want to go to the grocery store, it's a 30-minute bus trip to the nearest grocery store. Now, in some parts of Atlanta, the food deserts are so extreme that they don't even look at them as food deserts. They look at it as supermarket redlining. The same way they use the redlining technique to keep us out of certain neighborhoods, to keep us away from resources. They're starting to look at these food deserts as supermarket redlining, because it's that extreme. A 30-minute bus ride just to get to the nearest grocery store, that's extreme. Now, this neighborhood, Browns Mill, southeast Atlanta, is also 10 minutes from the airport. And, before the pandemic hit, Atlanta's airport was the busiest airport in the whole world. So in the middle of this sprawling city, 10 minutes from the airport, you have 7.1 acres of free food growing, over 2,500 edible and medicinal vegetables and foods growing right here in the middle of the hood, in the middle of the city, in the middle of Black urban America. So we're going to talk about that today, and also just all things food security. So, Farmer Brown, what kind of daily bread do you have for the people today?
Before spring 2020, black food insecurity, as 1 out of every 5 households was food insecure. Meaning if there were 5 houses on your block, one of those houses, whether there's 2 people, 5 people, 6 people, are food insecure, meaning I'm not going to get enough food for my daily nutritional needs. After the coronavirus lockdown, all of the things that happened as a result of that number's down to 1 out of 4. Meaning now if there's 4 households, there's 1. Meaning there's now more people who are going hungry. When we look at the Texas situation, I can't talk about it enough because I feel like it should have been a grand epiphany for all of us, whether we express it, openly online, hey, I'm turned up, about to grow hard, or just personally, hey, you know what, now how secure is my food system? I think this is a great story. I lived in Atlanta for a while, that culture down there, so it's very pleasing to me to see that this was something that was highlighted. But it can't be highlighted enough when we think about what are some creative ways we can make sure we eat. We obviously, as entrepreneurs, want to make some money. We want to utilize the land that we've been given and place stewardship over to generate a profit. But when we think about our actual food system, how are we feeding ourselves? A food forest makes all the sense in the world when we think about distressed properties. And kind of answering your question, but not when you think about, I don't know if you've ever seen those pictures in Japan. There's these whole cities in Japan that for whatever reason, the whole population left. And so you can look at the pictures and you can see how the vegetation has grown. I mean, it's grown over the cars. What used to be a highway is now a forest again. Nature has a funny way of balancing itself. And when human beings leave it alone, or when I say leave it alone, not interfere with it as much, it'll grow the things you need. And so the ingenuity of a food forest, okay, we know we have X amount of acres of space here. Once again, in your mind, to visualize it, look at your food deserts. Look at these communities where there's lots of houses, like, okay, I don't see anybody moving into this anytime soon. There's a lot of rumblings in the housing market right now. So, I'm not an economist, but I don't know if it's too many people just rushing to go just buy distressed properties right now. And so when we're thinking about these long 10-year, 15-year, 20-year plans, how can we best make use of the spaces that nobody's living in? Is this house that's sitting on this property best use just kind of sitting here a sore on the eye, or can this be knocked down and members of the community engage in a food forest? Let some of the vegetation grows back. Not only does this create a system that's helping us address our food security, but you're helping the soil around you. Just in case at some point you need to knock those trees down and really grow something. It was a time, the streets we live on, I actually lived long enough. I remember down in Osaka, Mississippi. That's where my grandmother and a lot of my family was from. There was still dirt and rock roads in front of their house. I remember that, because we used to have rock fights down there. To where as I got older, it eventually became a paved road. But I've lived long enough to see that ecosystems change. What we assume is so modern and just normal today is going to be inevitably very different tomorrow. And so being able to prepare for that mindset, being able to look at our communities, our what we call neighborhoods, not just as this is somewhere where I lay my head, but what if I'm stuck here and I can't get out? Am I making best use of this space? What resources are available to me? Not only through the city, state, and federal level, but what resources can we accumulate as a community to create something as simple? I can't see the politics behind a food-free forest. Here's a forest where, okay, you might not have bread to go to the store to pick you some apples, to get some nuts, to get some carrots. But you know, as a community that agrees that, hey, we do need to have some sort of food security, we'll invest our time, effort, and energy for those that might want to work to build this. This is a good opportunity to ask for funding, you know, because this is a tangible outcome. Per what you pay our organization, our group that wants to put this food in these communities, plant these plants, plant these trees, we could get X amount of produce. And so it's a very practical solution to just some of our food security problem. So I think this was great news.
It's practical, it works, and every city needs one. This should be like mandatory, especially in every major city, just to have a free food forest, have some free food growing that gives the people access, you know, free access at that. Now today we have a special guest. We have Dr. Antonia Pharrell. She's the chapter president at the University of Kentucky for Manners. That's minorities in agriculture, natural resources, and related sciences. A great professional development program that I did have a chance to take a part of. This is our logo. This is the logo right here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and bring Mia on. And I hope y'all B1Agers, please greet Mia. And thank you for coming and welcoming us. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me.
Good morning, Dr. Pharrell.
Good morning.
Now we start off. Could you introduce the people to yourself and also tell them about Manners and your contributions that you've made with Manners?
Absolutely. So I am actually the national president for Manners. And so Manners is a national organization that is based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And so we've been in existence for about 36 years. And so we just celebrated our 36th birthday on February the 25th. And the impetus behind the organization is to really springboard students of color, in particular, in helping them to gain access to opportunities in the ag, natural resources, and related sciences space. And so we have about 65 chapters within 38 institutions. And so as far as the chapters, majority of our chapters are at predominantly white institutions, Hispanic servant institutions, our tribal institutions, and also our historically Black colleges and universities. And so I also have the pleasure of serving as one of the advisors at the University of Kentucky. And so in my daytime job, I am the assistant dean and director for diversity. And so with that, in my role as a chapter advisor of the University of Kentucky, I am one that makes sure that our students is focused on personal and professional development. And so what I like to preach is that, yes, college is very important. Going to class is very important. Making good grades is very important. But we have to also make sure that our students are engaged in extracurricular activities, but also in organizations that are going to help them in order to get internships and full-time positions. And so another goal of the organization is to make sure that our members have internships and full-time positions when they graduate. And so I am a product of Manners. I started when I was an undergraduate student at the University of Kentucky, and it was an organization that truly showed me and exposed me to opportunities that I knew nothing about. I am a first generation college student. And so having to navigate through the university at a PWI was a challenge. And so I really found my safe haven and my safe space and my place of belonging within the Manners organization. And so that's a little bit about our organization and who we are.
Thank you. Now, do you have to be an agriculture major to be a part of Manners?
Great question. So no. So I will say that about 60% of our members at the University of Kentucky are not agriculture, or 60% are agriculture majors and 40% are not. And so what we truly try to do One is show students that agriculture exists and there's opportunities there, but also teaching them that they have skills that are transferable, that would and can be utilized in the agriculture and natural resource and related sciences space. And so what I like to say is that everyone needs professional development. A lot of times when we go to college, we're exploring. And so like myself, I went to UK, came in as a physical therapy major, and then I found manners. And I had a mentor that truly helped me through my collegiate career and exposing me to the ag and natural resources space. And my family laughs every day because they know I didn't grow up with animals, pets, and things like that. And so my first experience was at the Shelby County Extension County Fair, and I was able to show a goat. And my family knows I just have not been a true person that likes animals at all. And so when I showed that goat in that novice show, it was kind of like, it's not so bad. I really don't know why I don't like animals, but I just didn't grow up with them. But when I was exposed in my first internship in 4-H youth development, that's where I really started to see my niche and see that I had a place and a space in the ag and natural resources space. And so I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky in the suburbs and knew nothing about the opportunities in ag, but it truly was sprung upon me when I was in that first freshman summer program at UK and learning about all the different organizations I could be a part of and things like that. And my mentor sought me out and really helped me through my collegiate career to get me to where I am today.
So Dr. Pharrell, in your capacity, and so right now in North America, I know in recent years, there's been a lot more discussion about the disparities in agriculture. And at B1 Ag, we really like to take a very specific positive approach of the opportunities. So for every hurdle, there's a way to jump over it. For every challenge, there's a way to address it. And so right now, when we speak specifically about black farmers and producers, they represent 0.2% of U.S. ag sales. And this is a generally $1 billion a year industry. At the same time, when it comes to land ownership, black farmers, landowners own 0.4%. And then another statistic when it comes to agricultural degrees. And so in 2017, of 36,000 graduates with ag degrees, only a little over 1,100 were African American and a little over 2,000 were Hispanic and Latino. So in your capacity, what would you say to inspire this group of young people coming into this field? Like you just wonderfully expressed, you had no initial background in agriculture, more so than you took your basic knowledge, just the community you grew up in, and you were able to apply it to a unique field in agriculture, which actually shouldn't be unique at all. We need 1 million Dr. Pharrells around the planet right now. But what would you say to somebody who, I'm at a high school or I'm doing this community program and I want to prepare these students to be able to take advantage of manners? What is some advice you would give to them?
Absolutely. So first thing first is you have to be willing to open your mind and really step outside of your comfort zone. And I say that because I know with particular identities, we have different stigmas and stereotypes that historically have oppressed us. And so many of us do not want to have any parts of agriculture. But I will say the agriculture industry is evolving. And I will say that it's very important for us to be able to explore those options. And so I would say the beauty of manners is that we start as early as 7th grade with junior manners. And so we have a state 4-H program through Kentucky 4-H through junior manners, but we also have a citywide program here in Fayette County, as well as we are ramping up a program in Jefferson County. And so I would say first thing first, I said, open your mind, step outside of that comfort zone, but 2, be be willing to be exposed to the opportunities that your mentors or your advisors or folks want to expose you to, because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know. And so when I look at data, as far as in the agriculture sector, yes, the number of farmers and land ownership and things of that nature are very low. But I will say, I feel that we have more youth that are innovative and want to be entrepreneurs that are looking to buy back land. I will also say that there is a grant that I'm currently working on that I hope that we are funded, but it is really looking at Black farmers in Kentucky, also farmers of color, BIPOC farmers, and really seeing who is farming, whether it's recreational or whether it's your full-time position, but also looking for opportunities to get those who are not farming to really help them, to expose them to the resources that are available, and really having a one-stop shop where we're able to help with capital, we're able to help with heirs property, we're able to help them to really identify what their gaps are and really helping to fill those gaps in with the resources that we have available. And so I would say the conversations are going on, but I would also say, you know, the beauty of Manners is that we have a national conference and a regional cluster. And so the buzz right now is, how do we diversify our companies? What do we do to get diverse talent into our pipeline? And so within the Manners organization, about 90% of our members identify as Black. And then, of course, we have Hispanic and Latinx population. We also have Asians, so on and so forth. And so it's very important to know that if you are wanting to diversify your company, first, you have to make sure that if you or when you recruit, that you also have retention mechanisms in place. So I want to make sure, yes, I have diversity within my organization, but how do I make them feel like they belong? And so one, I would say I would create a mentor program or a program to really help springboard and onboard that new employee. There are also employee resource groups that I see a lot of companies are developing, where you can join a ERG in which you may identify or may not identify with that identity, but it is a safe space for you. Also, just making sure that you're just creating that safe space and not being awkward all the time. And so when I say that, I know we've seen a lot that has happened with social injustice and with the political system and things of that nature. And so I know this year we have been addressing the elephant in the room. And so there's definitely a place and space for different discussions like that. But I think everyone is at a point to where they want to learn more. They want to learn how they can be allies and or accomplices. And so I think it really lends itself to an opportunity to have those conversations.
And so I have one more question. I have to jump off here in a second, but I really want, once again, in the mindset of opportunity. We saw what happened in Texas in recent weeks, the energy grid. A lot of people who never heard the concept of renewable energy, wind turbine, energy return on investment, their minds heard these words. Their eyes saw the impacts of I'm not going to say faulty energy system, but these are complex issues that we need more students going into these fields. What are the opportunities using what happened in Texas as a model? What are the specific fields that if you had a student that came to Manners and said, I have family down in Texas, I want to go into a field that can address this. I want to come up with the best idea possible or be in the sector that can address this so this doesn't happen again, because that would turn into tens of thousands of jobs. Mm-hmm. As you know, we're a growing country, growing population. Obviously, we want to incorporate more green energy. So what would you say are the specific areas of study for a student that wants to be a part of that movement?
Yes, so every institution is different, but I will speak from majors that we do have at the University of Kentucky. And so one of the majors that I think would be very fitting for what has occurred would be agriculture biotechnology. And so within ag biotech, you're really learning about the agriculture system, but the biotechnology within the agriculture space. We also have human environmental science, which is our college, but under that college are different programs like human nutrition. And so when you talk about food insecurity and different inequities, that is definitely a major that we have as well. We also have ag engineering. And so we definitely need engineers that could go out and be able to evaluate and be able to bring solutions to problems along those lines. And the major that I would really say is agriculture economics. And so a lot of times when we talk about agriculture, and this was me when I was, in college, when you stick agriculture in front of a particular word or major like agriculture economics, folks are like, well, what does that really mean? And so what I like to tell folks is that when you're in ag econ, you have the best of both worlds, because a lot of times when you go into business is very saturated. Business is just an area in where you really have to figure out a niche. But when you're in ag econ, you have an agriculture background as well as an economics background. You take in financing, marketing, business, the same program or the same classes that you would take within business. Majority of those classes you take in the agriculture economics program, but you have an emphasis within agriculture. And so you talk about having that added advantage. When you look at the jobs in the market for agriculture is growing. We have to eat, we have to wear clothes, and there's different challenges that are currently taking place that agriculture definitely has a foot in. And so I think it's very important for us to continue to talk about and share the good work that is being done in the agriculture space, because I believe that we are here to stay. We're going to continue to grow, and there's going to continue to be a need for employees to fulfill these particular roles. And so I think it's important for us to start as early as possible as far as going into elementary and middle schools, so that, when they're talking about, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, oh, I want to be in agriculture. And so I really think that it's very important for us to start as early as possible to kind of get our youth wheels turning, to know that the opportunities are there. And a lot of youth, I say, you love money. If you love money, agriculture is the place to be. Depending on what, avenue you take, it may take time to build up that capital, but I will tell you that there is money within the agriculture space as well.
I know one thing we always talked about in Manners was getting to that bag with ag. Now, could you talk to some of our maybe college students that may be watching, or even some of our high school and middle school students that may come across this, about, the resources available to them through agriculture?
Absolutely. So, and I'll use my story for an example. So once I changed my major my sophomore year to agriculture economics, and I'll tell you that the average college student changes their major at least 5 times. So it's okay to change your major, first and foremost. But second, I will say that when I got into the agriculture space, the doors opened for me like no other. And so I say that because I then became a student worker in the agriculture economics department. I then had a few side gigs because of the work that I was doing in the agriculture economics department. I had an internship my sophomore year, at the end of my sophomore year, with Shelby County Cooperative Extension Services, a 4-H youth development intern. I had an internship with the Lexington Farmers Market as a market manager intern. And I also had an internship with Monsanto, now Bayer, as a field sales intern. And I was in Houston, Texas. And so what I would like to tell you all is that the opportunities are there. There are scholarships available. I would even say in our college and at the national level, there are scholarships. I would tell students, get your education paid for and get paid to go to college. And there's an opportunity to do that. It does take preparation, but there's an opportunity to do that. I would also say, get you a mentor or someone that is going the same pathway or trajectory as you are wanting to go, because they will be able to share some of the barriers that they had as they went through their college career, but also sharing the success and how to help you to navigate through college. Because I would tell you, college is like a job. And so when you go to college, yes, you're away from your family and things like that. But again, your ultimate goal is to get a career once you graduate. And the sad part is that just because you get a degree doesn't mean you'll have a job, right? But the beauty is that you can work towards getting a career. And I like to say career and not job, because there's definitely a difference. And so when I was an intern, within my different respective roles, there were many transferable skills that I learned. I learned what I like to do and what I didn't like to do. And that's the beauty of an internship. And so I will tell you, some interns are paid and some interns are not paid. And so I don't know, depending on, your lifestyle and depending on where you are, you may be able to take a non-paid internship, but still get the skills and things that you need. But I would also say, join student organizations. The reason why I joined Manners was because, one, I saw that my peers were getting these internships. UK is the national 7-time chapter of the year. And so they work hard. They were doing community service. They were also doing fundraisers. We were having kickbacks. I mean, we were doing a lot of different things on campus and off campus. And it was very appealing to me as a student. And I thought, what better way to be in an organization with people that look like me and people that are successful in the agriculture industry. And so when I took that opportunity and got out of my own way, truly the doors open for me. And so as a student, I would say explore your options. And I will also say, during the summer, my students are not at home chilling. They are at an internship. They are studying abroad, but with COVID, we can't do education abroad right now, or doing research. And so the beauty of our organization is that everything you do, you can put it on your resume. And so you have to have a resume in order to really share the experiences that you've had. And I know a lot of times, in engaging with students, they're like, oh, I'll wait until tomorrow. Oh, I'll wait until next week. But I like to say, do not put off tomorrow what you can do today. And so you never know when an opportunity will come and when an opportunity will go. And so you have to, take in the moment. And it is a sacrifice. I will not sit up here and act like I have not sacrificed my entire life, because it is a sacrifice when you are in leadership roles, when you are a part of organizations, and, when you are active. And so I will say it's a sacrifice, but it's rewarding as well, because I would not be where I am today if it were not for Manners, if it were not for my mentors, if it was not for my network. And so I like to say your network equals your net worth. And that's very true, because the people that you surround yourself with will either uplift you or they won't uplift you, just depending on who you're surrounding yourself with. And so I think it's important for you to surround yourself with positive people and have mentors that are not your family and friends. Because I feel like a lot of times, like with me, my family thought I was just amazing. Everything was great. But it was so much that I had to work on personally and professionally. But they still support me 110%. But I still have different folks that are supporting me, that I surround myself with, that really has been my ears and eyes to the ground to really get me to where I am today.
And that's what I really learned to love about Manners, because you're bringing together so many dynamic students together with all their different talents. The Manners creates an it creates the framework for you to have that mentorship, to give that direction that students need, and also facilitates building your network. Like as you said, it is your net worth. So it really helped me to focus and laser sharp define what do I want to do in agriculture. You know, I grew up farming with my grandfather in South Georgia. So I took this as Manners showed me how I could pay homage to him and help expand, you know, what we've been doing in our own family in agriculture and try to take it to another level. Now, do you have anything else to say about Manners before we get up out of here?
Yeah, so I would like to talk a little bit about our national conference and regional cluster.
Yes.
So our regional cluster takes place in the fall. And so at the regional cluster, our members, and so let me talk about our membership before I go into that. So our membership begins at 7th through 12th grade with junior Manners. We have collegiate students, which are undergraduate and graduate students. And then we also have professionals, alumni, and retirees. And so when you talk about an organization that truly offers membership at all different levels, we do. And so we also have a premier event called the Diversity Summit. And so this is another premier event where we are wanting to be the hub for multicultural, for a multicultural diversity summit for those who are interested in learning more about DE&I. And so our national conference takes place virtually April the 6th through the 9th. And so what takes place at the national conference is our members are able, one, to network, participate in contests. We also have speakers that'll come. We have different workshops our members can attend, but also interviewing for internships and full-time positions. And so we have a career and expo show that takes place one day, and our members can, network with the employers, but also able to interview for particular positions that they have open. I would also say our regional cluster emulates our national conference, but on a smaller scale. And so within our regional cluster, we have 6 regions within the National Society, ranging all through the United States and also in Puerto Rico. And so I really think that, when students attend the regional cluster and national conference, it really is and does not scale up to students just attending the local meetings. And so although we meet bi-weekly at the university and at most universities, they meet bi-weekly. When our members attend the national conference and regional cluster, they're like, wow, I never imagined a conference being like this. And so I like to encourage our students, in particular our freshmen and sophomore, to really get themselves out there and learn how to network, because I know that it can be very intimidating initially, but the goal is to truly develop leaders within the Manners organization who will be taking over the agriculture industry. And so I know that over the course of the last few years, we have had freshmen who have been offered internships with large Fortune 500 agriculture companies. And that is because we believe in preparing our students for the global society. And so we want to make sure that you're on point when it comes to interviewing, when it comes to your resume, when it comes to that handshake, everything that you should be doing from a professional standpoint. We want to make sure that you're prepared so that when you do have that opportunity for that dream internship or dream full-time position, that you are well prepared when you do get that opportunity.
There it is, B1 Aggers. Now we talk about gardening and farming, but now we're showing you how professional development within agriculture, especially through this program, Manners. Great program. I've been a part of it. Brings together a lot of dynamic, talented people, and use their talent in the agricultural business sector. Now, every year there's like 30 to 40,000 unclaimed jobs in the field of agriculture. And that's just mostly because we just don't know about it.
Absolutely.
Manners helps us to identify these opportunities and steer some of our brightest minds into these awaiting jobs, which a lot of times does equal to the bag. So
yes, and we're always looking for sponsors. So if your organization is looking to sponsor a diverse agriculture organization, Manners is always looking for sponsors, but we're always recruiting new members. And so I can be a little biased, but the University of Kentucky is an amazing university, but I would say the College of Ag is pretty awesome. And I'm a product of the college, and I have not left yet. It's been 10 years since I graduated, and have been employed by the university for the past 10 years. And so it has been a true honor and privilege to really see my growth, but to also see the students that have come to the university in our college and have graduated and have been very successful once they graduate in landing a career. And so our goal is to make sure that when you are a senior, the fall of your senior year is when you're interviewing, and by January, by the spring, that you know that you have an offer or 2 or 3 in securing those bags, and everything else pretty much falls into place. And so that's really our goal within our organization.
And how many years has the University of Kentucky had the flagship Manners program?
So we've been here since 1999. And Manners has been around since 1985.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many years in a row have they been ranked number 1?
7 years in a row.
7 years in a row.
7 years. We're going for 8 this year.
I send all goodwill, good vibrations to Manners up there at the University of Kentucky. They definitely helped me steer me towards the right direction. Definitely helped me to take advantage of a lot of opportunities. I miss y'all. I thank y'all. And hopefully we can continue to work more together in the future. But we got to get this word out about agriculture, especially to our people. Let us know where these opportunities are, because they are great opportunities. A lot of it gives you opportunities for not only just upward mobility, but also just financial security as well. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, we need to have this food security.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. So I would like to thank you again, Dr. Pharrell, for spending time with us and sharing your knowledge and exposing and helping to promote Manners to our listeners. Everyone, that's their manners.org. Mm-hmm. Check us out. Check it out. Have your kids check it out. If you know any college students, your nieces, your cousins, your own children, have them look up Manners and see if there's a chapter at their school.
Absolutely.
And if you want a junior Manners, you can go on to the manners.org website and find out how you can create your own junior Manners at your middle school or high school where you may teach at or where your kids go to. But we need the school.
And I will say we have been working with FFA to help them to incorporate junior Manners into their programming. And so I will say here in Kentucky, particularly at Carter G. Woodson and at Locust Trace, we have junior Manners program at both of those schools, but they are in FFA and they're in junior Manners. And also 4-H. And so My thing is that I like to make sure that students have as many opportunities as possible. So when you are a part of Junior Manners, you get opportunities in 4-H as well as in FFA if you are at those particular schools where they offer it. And so I just want to make sure that our students are aware of the opportunities. They're getting scholarships. They're really being helped on how to navigate through the college process, because it can be daunting at times. And so we are always here to support, to make sure that students, meet those deadlines, have applied for FAFSA and different things like that, so that they can get as many opportunities from a financial standpoint as possible.
So B1Ag, as you hear it, you can really get to the bag and ag. You don't have to be a farmer. There are a lot of different ways to get it. The opportunities are there. So we'd like to thank you again for coming on this morning. Congratulations on all of your success. We're pushing for number 8 in a row. Those are dynasty numbers there.
I thought 7 was the number of completion and we were finished, but they want to keep going.
So that's what you got to do.
Right.
All right. So B1Ag, thank you again for this. I hope y'all enjoyed this daily bread that we offered you. And as we end every show, if you really want to know something, learn how to grow something. And we are out. Stay in a growth state of mind.